After what has been the wettest and windiest winter in many years, we're slowly ticking off those jobs that need to be done before the garden really gets busy. We were so grateful when the sun finally returned in the middle of March. The birdsong seemed louder than ever. Perhaps they were equally pleased to see the return of the blue skies. The daffodils we planted in the garden last autumn have given us so much joy over these past few weeks. It was well worth the effort of planting out over 1,000 bulbs. The trees are waking up and more leaves arrive every day. The primroses and the first of the bluebells are sweeping across the woodland floor. And in corners of the garden, celandines bask in spring sunshine, visited by hungry pollinators. This is the garden in spring. It's the middle of March and we finally have a sunny day, which means I can cut back this eucalyptus. Every year I pollard the eucalyptus to around waist height in the middle of March. And then we get this fabulous regrowth of foliage right the way through the warm summer months. By October, it's ready for harvest, and I then harvest it throughout the whole winter and send it off all over the country to my lovely florist customers. So let's go and take a look at what the eucalyptus is looking like before I start to pollard it. So all this fabulous foliage that you see around me, this is all the regrowth from March 2025's pollard. These were cut back to just stumps and they put on around 3 to 4 metres worth of regrowth during the summer months. And then I've been cutting it all winter. Not all of the eucalyptus has survived the pollarding. We lost a couple of eucalyptus last summer, and that's why it's so important to sow seed every single year just to fill in those gaps. So in terms of what I use to cut these back, I tend to find that a pair of loppers actually works the best. I use a pruning saw and anything that's a little bit thicker, but because this is really fresh regrowth, actually this is incredibly soft and it doesn't take much to get through the stems. And the sunshine is going to dry up all of the fresh cuts that I make on the tree, which is going to really limit the amount of disease that can get into the tree. And now that I have removed all of the big thicker stems, I'm going to go through with my secateurs and cut off these smaller ones. So all that I'm going to be left with is a stump. Well, that's one down, 49 to go. So it's Easter Sunday and it's an absolutely beautiful evening here in the garden, and I thought I would take you for a little walk around the garden and chat to you a little bit about what I've been getting up to over the last few weeks. It feels like ages since I welcomed you into the garden, so I thought we'd go and have a little look and see how everything has changed. The cottage garden has really started to put on some spring colour. We have an invasion of tricorn leeks in the garden, and I wrestled for a good few years with trying to get rid of it, and it was in vain. I just can't get rid of it. So I've almost started to just embrace it, thin it out around some of the plants, and when it gets a bit horrid in late spring, I then pull it out or trim it. And the acre is really dominating the garden with this incredible colour. I love acres, and this is taking on a really fabulous shape. When we first created this garden, it hadn't had any light for a long time and it was growing the most bizarre shape, but finally it started to fill out, and it's giving this really kind of quite amazing architectural shape now. The vegetable garden is still looking quite empty, but my mum has been busy planting out things like the onions, and the broad beans are flowering, so it hopefully won't be too much longer before we start to get some veggies coming out of the garden. The Swiss chard has been doing brilliantly all winter and hasn't died off yet, so we have been getting lots and lots of incredible Swiss chard and some winter kale as well. I've spent lots of time in the potting shed recently, potting up seedlings, and also my dahlias arrived in the post not that long ago, and I potted them up into some pots to put in the polytunnel to bring on some new shoots, and those will be planted out towards the end of May when they are nice, big, healthy, established plants, with the hope that the slugs and snails will leave them alone. I've also gathered up lots of old annual seed packets that still had a few seeds left over, and I decided to sow them into my raised spring bulb beds because those beds are always empty during the summer months and just grow lots of weeds. So I'm hoping that some of the seeds will actually germinate and will give me some flowers to enjoy through the summer in what would normally be empty beds, and it might suppress some of the weeds too. And the cut flower field is still looking really quite brown, but the irises are flowering, so they're giving us a bit of colour, but there's lots of promise of things to come in the not too distant future. All of the herbaceous perennials are shooting away, and I have lots of seedlings here in the polytunnel that are growing away into some nice, strong, healthy plants, which I will be planting out over the next few weeks. There's also some fabulous flowers that are coming through in the polytunnel. I will show you these fabulous ranunculus and colibri poppies, which are looking so bright and cheerful on this Easter Sunday. So you can see these beautiful ranunculus. Look how bright these are. Absolutely stunning flowers. Really, really beautiful. They're like cupcakes that have been iced with beautiful butter icing. Absolutely beautiful. So many of these fabulous bright ones. I've got some of these lovely pinky ones coming through, and also some beautiful whites as well. I absolutely adore ranunculus, and I'm really pleased with them this year. They're very, very tall, some of them measuring about 1 metre in height. Absolutely stunning. And these are my colliery poppies, which are also absolutely gorgeous. Very, very bright. Look at these huge poppies. These last quite a long time in the vase. If they're picked at the right stage, these will last around 5 to 7 days in the vase. And again, really, really, really tall stems. Absolutely beautiful. The tulips are all looking lovely. I've gone for these fabulous striped ones. See these, absolutely gorgeous. I love these double tulips because they have like a peony type flower, These look really beautiful in floral arrangements, bridal bouquets, and I'm growing them in crates, which I shared with you in the autumn when I planted these out. I don't grow many crates of tulips because I don't need lots, but they are too good to not have a few tulips in spring. And this huge patch of wallflowers has been giving me lots of pleasure. It's been flowering for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I love this dusky pink magenta. And this yellowy one, which is a sort of primrose yellow, fades to an almost white, which I've been using a lot in my wedding floristry. It's so delicate and pretty. And this huge plant here, this is Amimagus. And outside this would grow to be around this kind of size, which is just over 1 metre. But inside in the polytunnel, it'll grow to over 2 metres in height and will create huge quantities of flowers. So this is a really lovely protected crop here in the tunnel, and I also grow it outside. The polytunnel is absolutely essential to me as a cut flower grower because it is protecting all of these beautiful autumn sown seedlings from the deluges of the rain and the gale-force winds that we quite often get in the spring months. These beautiful ranunculus and poppies would be absolutely ripped to shreds outside, so this is a really essential place to have these beautiful spring flowers. Wow, it's such a beautiful evening. I've been making a new compost area over the last couple of days. It's not finished yet, but I will share with you. We've got a big heap of weeds, and I just keep adding to it every year, and I really want to actually utilise it a bit more. So the plan is to cover it over with some tarpaulin to try and break it down a bit quicker, but I wanted to create some actual proper compost bays as well, but I wanted them to look nice. So I've put in around them these chestnut palings that we had left over from another place in the garden, and you can see it needs a bit of work, but this is my huge pile of weeds, and I've got some woven willow hurdles that are going to go across the front. And then down in this section I'm going to have my compost and some of the woody material that can go through the shredder in the autumn, and then beyond that is the leaf mould bay that I've had for a long time. So I'm hoping this whole area will start to look a little bit tidier, but it's very much a work in progress, and you're seeing it at about the halfway stage. So I will share it with you when it is properly finished in a few weeks' time. I don't know if you can see, I've got a cat walking with me. Let me see if I can, there she is. Puss is coming for a walk with us around the garden. She does love to have a walk on a dry day. So I'm taking you up to the section where I grow all of my woody perennials, so all of the shrubs, and there's one thing in particular that is looking phenomenal. This is broom, and it looks amazing. So the children are calling this the strawberry milkshake plants, and you can see why, because they are so frothy. I absolutely love the colour of this pinky one, and the white is the purest white. It's really, really pretty. Everything in here has really put on so much growth over the last few years, and it looks like my viburnums are starting to bud up. I'll show you. So these are viburnum opulus, and they create these incredible white snowball-like flowers, a bit like a hydrangea. And at the moment they're all just green buds, but in the not too distant future this is going to be like a cloud, a white fluffy cloud. So there's one last place that I want to show you, and that's up here at our Scandinavian cabin, which I'm sure you remember was really badly hit by the January storms. And we lost 9 Huge trees just in this area alone, 27 trees in total throughout the garden, 9 really big trees, so there was a big change that's happened up here. We had the tree surgeons come in a couple of weeks ago and remove the last of the trees that were sitting on top of the buildings that are up here, and that gave us huge amounts of wood chip, which the children helped us to spread out all around the cabin, and it's created a really lovely space now. And I'm hoping that in the not too distant future the JCB digger can come in and remove the massive root balls which are sitting up here, so that I can start planting a few trees to kind of give the place a bit more purpose and soul back again. So let's go and take a look. So we've got this huge pile of logs which we're going to use to create a log wall. The composting toilet, the last time you saw it, had 3 trees sitting on top of it, and it was in ruins, and it's been rebuilt once again, which is fantastic. I can't believe that it's already 12 weeks since this area was completely devastated, and we had to literally cut our way in with a chainsaw in order to be able to access it. Already so much has changed in it, and I'm really able to visualise where it's going in the future. Spring is all about change, and from one day to the next, so many things can have grown, they flowered and they finished. It's so fleeting, you have to enjoy every single second of it. And it's evolving and growing into something more and more beautiful with every single day, and it's really, really exciting in the garden. It's probably my favourite season because it feels fast-paced and interesting, and there's always something to see and do within the garden in spring. It's been an absolute pleasure to take you on a walk around the garden on this beautiful Easter Sunday evening, and I am really looking forward to sharing the garden with you in the not too distant future, when it will have changed again enormously, I am sure. So I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time, when I will show you what the garden is looking like in late spring. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you soon.